Welcome, everyone, to a brand new week of the Media Row podcast. I'm your host, Justin Miller. So happy to have each and every one of you tuning in to today's show. Welcome. If you are brand new to the program, you can catch us and follow us, subscribe to us wherever you listen or view your podcasts, as well as wherever you like to social media. We're on TikTok, Instagram, and on Twitter. And Twitter was crazy because we had three Drake games to cover in 3 days. And if you can't tell, I had a lot to say about my Seahawks. Holy cow. We're going back to the Super Bowl, baby. 12th man got nuts on Sunday. An amazing performance by Sam Darnold, JSN. Defense showed me they're not unbeatable, but still impressed me at moments. Going to take on the Patriots in what will be an exciting Super Bowl matchup here in 2 weeks. But we have a lot to get to in today's show. But before we get to any of that, a huge shout out to the people that make this show happen. And that's Jeff and his crew at Kelly's Little Nipper, 1701 East Grand Avenue in Des Moines. Kelly's Little Nipper, great pregame and postgame hangout spot if you are attending any Drake event or just any event in the local area. Great food, great drinks, and better community over there at 1701 East Grand Avenue in Des Moines. Kelly's Little Nipper, a proud sponsor of the Media Row podcast. So like I said, huge show today. We have Drake men's basketball getting their second consecutive win, a huge road test against Indiana State to see if this team could build upon that momentum we talked about earlier last week. And then the women, two big games, Friday night against Evansville, and then Sunday, a great battle, but falling just short, 89-88 against the Racers. So we have all that and more to get to. But before we get into any of that, let's start with the Drake men's basketball team, because for the first time since December 2nd of this year, the Drake Bulldogs have won 2 consecutive games under Coach Henderson. Huge game on Saturday. I mean, the win on Wednesday was fantastic. Great feeling around Des Moines. The Knapp Center was rocking. When covering the Drake women's game Friday night, had a lot of people coming up to me and talking about Wednesday night's game. So the vibes were great. Everyone was confident. Everyone was feeling good. But everyone, I think, too, realized that Wednesday win was a statement victory, signature victory for Henderson and this team. But overall, you got to start stacking. It's what we were talking about on Friday's show. Of you have to start stacking, building upon that momentum, not falling into the trap this team has fallen into 90% of the season, and that is have a great performance one day, and then 48 hours come out and look like a different team. Well, that didn't happen on Saturday. Against Indiana State on the road, Drake gets out and comes home with the victory, 76-62 over Indiana State. And it just felt good to get that victory, because now you put yourself in a really good position, because Drake is now 11-10 in their overall record. They're 5-5 in the Missouri Valley Conference. And now there's still tiers to the Missouri Valley Conference. I know Murray State just lost to Drake and to UNI and didn't look like the same Racers team we'd seen previously this year. I still put them in that upper slot, but it's not far-fetched to say that this conference is starting to become very competitive. Those lines are starting to become blurred between the favorites and the contenders and the spoilers. I think those lines are starting to become blurred. Just standing-wise, Drake has put themselves in a great position, starting with that huge upset victory last Wednesday against Murray State at home. Go on the road, you build off of that momentum, you stack victories, and you beat Indiana State on the road by 14. And then you have coming up this Wednesday at the Knapp Center a very winnable game, a game you are going to be expected to win against a struggling Evansville team, the bottom tier of the Missouri Valley Conference right now in the Purple Aces. You have them coming to the Knapp Center. you can string together 3 wins. You can get back to a winning record in the conference. The Knapp Center is going to be wild on this Saturday, I should say, because you have Bradley coming into town, the team that embarrassed you a few weeks ago on the road, the team that made every Bulldog fan just really depressed and question a lot of this team, question a lot of their strength on both the floor and off the floor. So you have a great opportunity to get back as well. So just a lot that built off of this victory against Indiana State. And I want to start with this, and it's going to be weird to start with this after saying all these positive things. You look at the box score, you see how Drake played. Overall, though, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Bulldog fans. It was kind of a hard game to watch. It was kind of an ugly game for the most part. Drake only scores 26 in the first half. Again, this team just seems to be a second half team. If we could just get games to be 20 minutes long, Drake would be undefeated, it feels like, at this point. But team just did not shoot the ball well, especially from beyond the 3-point line. 8 of 27 from beyond the arc. Shetler, Aaliyah, and Larson, they shot the most and combined a 6 of 17 from the 3-point line. This team at one point was 20 of 50 from the floor, and just was tough. It was hard to watch. I mean, when Drake was up 52-50 with about 12 minutes, I want to say, to go in this game, I was sitting there watching it on ESPN Plus, and I'm saying to myself, like, this is tough. And it's not tough because you're looking at the score going, oh man, just back and forth game. No, it was tough to watch because it's just brick after brick. You're getting bad turnovers. Neither team can really score. And then it turns around. I have written down in my notes, and it's kind of funny to look at. I have ugly game, no 3-point shot, beautiful basketball. Because that's how this game felt. First half, Drake in the first 5 or 8 minutes looked really strong. They jump out to a 10-point lead. Then they start to falter, and you see Indiana State make a push, and that 10-point lead just gets wiped away. Then the 3-point struggles just continue to happen for this team. I mean, Shetler had open looks. They weren't falling. Larson with some really pretty open looks. They weren't falling. There was a great play where Quinn drove to the basket, has a beautiful no-look dish pass to Andrew Aaliyah in the corner. That's a missed 3, wide open. So you're just seeing the offense move well, the shots just not falling. Then the offense continued to move well, and the shot started falling. The final 8 minutes of this game was some beautiful basketball to watch on both sides of the floor. The offense moved well. The guards were passing and seeing the floor well. The bigs were playing strong. We'll get to Isaiah Carr here in a little bit because I've been impressed with him here in the last few weeks here this month. And you just have this offense moving strong and looking connected. And then defense, that intensity cranked up to a different level. I mean, you have guys in great stances, fundamental stances, and they're attacking Indiana State. They forced 18 turnovers by Indiana State. That was huge because we had seen this Indiana State team hang around, not just in this game, but in the first meeting this season in Des Moines. So they forced 18 turnovers in this team in the second half. Second half team, I don't know. I'll have to ask Henderson on Wednesday, like what happens coming out of that locker room that just gives this Bulldog team that extra juice, that extra motivation. They scored 57 against Murray State to put the Racers away on Wednesday. They bounced back after only scoring 26 in the first half. They put up 50 points in the second half. And it was really because of Jalen Quinn and Owen Larson. The guard play once again, was fantastic. Starting with Jalen Quinn. Jalen Quinn has put together 2 first-team All-Missouri Valley, honestly, Larry Bird Player of the Year in the conference worthy games. He's averaging 30.5 points per game. He put up a career-high 34 on national television against the conference-leading team at Murray State last Wednesday, and then follows it up with a great 27-point performance. And again, I've been, hard on Jalen Quinn because he is the leader of this team. You see how this offense revolves around his attitude on and off the court and his strengths and weaknesses on the court. That's why you get so hard on Jalen Quinn, because you just know how vital he is to this team entirely. But when he gets downhill, I put out this tweet during the game. When he gets downhill, I don't know if there's a better guard in the Valley. I mean, he can stop on a dime. He is comfortable with his shot fakes and driving into the chest of a player. He's strong in the paint, but he's also really athletic, where he can stop on that dime and do that pretty little turnaround fadeaway jumper. His floater game has beautiful touch. He's just so effective in that 12-foot range from the hoop. There's so many different ways he can score on defenses in the Valley. And so he puts up 27 points, just downhill effort by him, confident, just playmaking skills by your team leader, your offensive leader in Jalen Quinn. Really, the only thing, and I think this is what Henderson will be telling him too, because you're going to give a guy credit for a great performance. You want to boost that confidence up, but at the same time, you still want to see things get fixed. And the thing that I think a lot of Bulldog fans want to see, and what Henderson wants to see, is you're the leader of this team. We got to have you protect the ball a little better. I mean, he ends the day against Indiana State. No assists, 4 turnovers. I can't remember what game it was, but I mean, there was another game where Drake really struggled with the turnovers, and he had like 8 of the team's turnovers. Those are still question marks, and we still haven't seen it get fixed. So keep your eye on that. Let's see how he adjusts and moves forward. I don't think, though, a lot of Bulldog fans will complain about it as long as he continues to put up 30-plus a game and Drake continues to win. Now, the other guard we need to talk about. I have been very critical of Owen Larson. These last few weeks, he hasn't looked amazing. He hasn't looked like he deserved to be in the starting lineup when you have Deshaun Thomas averaging 16 points a game coming off the bench. Owen Larson is a vital option for this Drake Bulldog team. I was saying how, he knows the system of Henderson, and you have to have a guy with that experience to help grow and connect a team. He's very important on this team, but we just hadn't seen the production get to the point where you were sitting there going, yeah, he deserves to be the starting point guard on the floor. In the previous 10 games, he was averaging 5.5 points per game. Now we're seeing what fans have been waiting all year long to see. These last 2 performances by Owen Larson have been incredible, have been game changers. He has become an X factor last week. He is averaging 21.5 points per game. He scored or tied a career high against Murray State and then put up 21 against Indiana State. He is becoming that true point guard Drake has needed all year long. Jalen Quinn is a great scoring option for the Drake Bulldogs. I think as in that true point guard position, I think he shows signs of some weaknesses with floor vision and just protecting the ball at times. Owen Larson puts out 4 assists and doesn't turn over the ball once. He's confident with his shots in these last 2 games. He is a fantastic 3-point shooter. And I think with him coming off of that ACL injury, we saw him at times second guess himself. And we, the fans, the coaching staff, his teammates, I think everyone understands how good of an offensive player Larson can be. And that's why we held such a high standard and expectation for him. And now we're starting to see him, I think, grow back and get comfortable with the speed of the game after being out for as long as he was, and just gain that confidence back in his shots. And he's not passing up those looks. He's taking advantage of his opportunities. He's been fantastic at the free throw line. He went 6 of 6 against the Sycamores on Saturday. And it's because he's not afraid to drive into the paint. So you have Owen Larson now putting up 20 plus a game. You get Jalen Quinn putting up 20 plus a game. This is just going to open up this offense that all year long, fans, we've talked about the identity issues and the inconsistencies. Well, when it doesn't fall on just Jalen Quinn scoring or Eli Shetler scoring, when you can get Quinn, Shetler, Larson to get that consistency back, it's going to open up so many options, not just for the scorers and Jashawn Thomas coming off of the bench, but it's going to open up opportunities for guys like Isaiah Carr to put up 8 points against Murray State and Andrew Aaliyah to score in double figures. It's just going to help spread the floor and really put defenses on their heels instead of being able to just zero in on one guy each night. So great performance by Owen Larson. I'm a man where I can admit where, I've been critical these last 3 weeks of Owen Larson. I questioned if he should be in the starting lineup. He has come out there and proven to me this is what I can do on a consistent basis. He's now done it in 2 games. Now, not expecting him to score 20 plus each game, but expecting to see that confidence and the comfortability that we've seen from him on the floor these last few games. Before we finish up with the Drake men's basketball talk, though, a player that I want to talk about growing and improving in this month of January is Isaiah Carr. You may look at his box score and his season stats and be like, the guy's averaging like 5 points a game. Didn't even lead the team in rebounds against Indiana State. That's all true, and that's all fair to point out. Is there things I would want to see Isaiah Carr improve on? Yes, absolutely. But you look at him playing in December. I mean, he got sat a lot of December too, where you have Goodberry coming in and Federico starting, of course. The month of January, he has shown great growth and I think acceptance to the challenge that Henderson has put on him. I mean, when you get benched and a true freshman in Griffin Goodberry comes in and has performances like he did, against LSU and Georgia Tech earlier in the season, yeah, that's kind of putting pressure on you to be like, you got to perform. We're not asking you to put up 20 points a game. You got to find something to make fans and the staff and your teammates feel comfortable with you out on the floor. In this month of January, I mean, he has shown great moments. Against Murray State was very strong in the paint, very strong with the basketball. Earlier in the year, I mean, he looked like his hands, he wasn't strong with his hands. That has completely changed. But the point of emphasis when Isaiah Carr is on the floor is you're going to have to work for any layup. This man is a blocking machine. In the last 11 games, in the last 6 games, he has 11 blocks. And he has 2 against Indiana State, 3 against Murray State. And fans get so excited when there's a huge 3-pointer or sky-high dunk. You get a block off the glass. That I mean, it's a weird shockwave that gets sent through the arena. And I think the players get more hyped off of a block than sometimes a dunk or a three-pointer. At least it seems that way with this Drake team. I mean, he had a few against Murray State where Knapp Center erupted. Some of the highest energy we've seen from the Knapp Center this season. And then watching on TV against Indiana State, road team, rivalry team, he gets a couple of those blocks. I mean, Quinn, Larson, the bench, everyone just kind of gets this different attitude. Their chest gets pumped out a little better. He's a strong rebounder. He's been stronger with the basketball. The defensive attitude he comes out with each night now has totally flipped how I view Isaiah Carr. I just think he's been one of the most improved players here in this month of January. And again, watching that Indiana State game, I was going to talk about it on Friday's show with the Murray State game, but didn't get to it. Watching Saturday at Indiana State, it was like, all right, can't be ignored anymore. Can't be ignored. So Drake wins 76-62 over Indiana State, completing the regular season sweep of the Sycamores. They win their second straight game for the first time since December 2nd of this season. And like we said, to start this segment, perfect opportunity to start stacking up opportunities, to start stacking up wins. And you have Evansville, a bottom tier team, coming to the Knapp Center, win that one, and talk about high energy next Saturday against Bradley. Going to be a lot of fun. Sticking with Drake basketball, but moving over to the women's side of things, let's jump into the game we just got back from with the Drake versus Murray State battle. And I mean battle. One of the best games I've watched all season long in just women's college basketball. I love women's college basketball. I remember watching it as a kid, even before the Clark Mania. Now that amped it up to a different level, like with everyone. But I remember going to Drake basketball games when they do those double headers with my dad, and always had a blast watching Drake women's basketball. This was the most fun I've had watching a game. And the crazy thing is Drake lost. Like, it's rare for me to sit back and say that was an amazing basketball game. And to have the team you're rooting for, the team you're covering, not come up with the victory. As Drake falls to Murray State 89-88 in a just call and response game. I mean, you have this Drake team that on Friday handled business against Evansville. I'm not going to spend, 5 minutes really diving deep into that game because we previewed it last Friday of talking about, I was falling into that trap maybe of overlooking the Purple Aces and just setting my focus on to the Racers on Sunday. But Drake handled business. It played out how I thought it would, where this team came out on top, rarely trailed, if at all, against Evansville, and just handled business. I mean, you had everyone playing minutes. You had everyone contributing. You had multiple people scoring in double figures. And then it was like perfect. You got that kind of breath of relaxation. You had that separation from a lower tier Valley team, a team you felt like you were much better than. You performed that way. Now it's on to how will you handle a contender. And Murray State, they lost to UNI on Friday night. You're getting a pissed off Racers team coming into the Knapp Center. How will you handle business, a team that destroyed you the last time out? And this Drake team responded greatly. I mean, they only lost 2 of the 4 quarters. They were down by 3 in the first. They scored 31 in that third quarter. Just absolutely lights out. Led by as much as 14 with 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. You hear Pullman a lot in post-game interviews that we post on Twitter. you hear her a lot talk about, we want to play a Bulldog style basketball. And that means moving up and down the court with great pace. That means not being afraid to shoot the ball. That means being strong in the post. That means dominating the glass, causing turnovers. And that's what we saw from this team. Great balance. Inside out game where Drake finishes the game shooting 50% from the field. They shot 48% from the 3-point line in that third quarter where they put up 31 points, nearly 60% from the field and 72% from behind the arc. I mean, this was Bulldog basketball, Pullman basketball to a T. And you had great performances, 24 by Abby Alsma, who is just fantastic. Might have one of the quickest releases in college basketball. And one of those shots where just smooth and pure. Love watching her. You got a great performance, one of the best games out of your true freshman center and starting center in Quinn Weiss. 18 points from her, 8 of 11 from the field, 2 of 3 from behind the arc, spreading the floor with the post player. Love seeing that. You had 13 from Anna Becker. So just great numbers. I mean, it was the second consecutive 20-plus point performance by Alsma. Becker with 10-plus points in 5 of the last 6 games. Maggie Taylor off the bench with her 4th straight 10-plus point performance. This team was balanced. It was everything you wanted to see. And yet here we are talking about a Drake loss. And really, it comes down to something Drake can't always control. And that was the whistle. And I'm not going to sit here and say the whistles were the determining factor as why Drake lost. Because the turnovers, that's been a constant issue with this Pullman coach squad. They turn over the ball too much. And it bit them again. They turned over the ball 18 times against the Racers. The Racers converted and scored 27 points off of those turnovers. That's going to burn you 10 times out of 10. And now the other thing, the uncontrollable with the whistles, was the free throw line. I mean, huge differential here. Drake went to the free throw line 10 times. They shot 7 of 10, which was very strong. Anna Becker, 1 of 4. Really surprising because she is a strong player, a great freshman, high ceiling from Anna Becker, the Missouri Valley Freshman of the Week last week. Love seeing what her growth and how she plays in the starting lineup. 1 of 4 at the free throw line is one of those mind-boggling things where you sit there and go, you are a great shooter. Wonder what needs to just be tweaked a little at that free throw line. Because you have confidence in her. Every time she steps up to the line, it's not like I'm sitting there going, oh no. It's not like Shaq's at the free throw line or anything. It's her one tiny freshman mistake where you see that, where you go, oh, there's the freshman in her. When at times you look at her and you go, man, she's playing way more mature than her age and her experience. So the free throws, Drake goes 7 of 10. How many free throws do you think Murray State had? I'll give you a second to guess. Murray State shot 25 of 29. The differential was 29 free throws for Murray State, 10 for Drake. That's going to change the game. And the turnovers I think are more important than the free throws because that's something you can kind of control. The free throws you can't always. I mean, the calls were bad on both sides, to be fair, too. I mean, it was all over the place. Both coaches, there was a time where Pullman and Murray State, they looked at each other and they were like shaking their heads in disbelief because there's no rhythm. It wasn't equal. There would be one thing where Murray State would hack a Drake player to the floor and that would get called fouled. And then Drake would do the same thing and it wouldn't for Murray State. Like it wasn't balanced on both sides. And that's coming from a Drake fan. So the free throws just really became the defining factor of this game, which is really tough because with a game that was as fun and as exciting, thrilling, it's tough when the refs play a big part because you want them to be a side note. You don't want that to be a defining factor in the game. So Drake falls to Murray State by 1. There's a lot to be excited about, though. I mean, this team is looking more connected each and every game. The way they came back from blowing out Evansville and competed against Murray State, a team that had blown them out, it was very promising. Now, again, do I think Drake is going to win the Missouri Valley? At this moment, you have to say probably not. Now, you'd love to see a Cinderella story more than anything. Hell yeah, sign me up for Pullman going on a run. Murray State's a fantastic team. Belmont is a very great defensive team, and you and I can have strong nights as well. So just a tough outing for the Drake Bulldogs, one of those where this is as close to a moral victory as you can take. But so now the Drake women get set for what will be a tough road game against Bradley on Thursday, and we will be covering that one, of course, as always. But before we wrap up today's show, let's talk about this NFC and AFC championship, baby. Seahawks Patriots Part 2. This is one of the craziest runs by Seattle, where they beat two of their rivals. They're going to be on their rivals' home turf going up against a team that the last time they were in the Super Bowl, they lost to. Starting with the AFC, though. Patriots, Broncos, a brawl. I mean, the snow, the weather, that became a very field position heavy game, and where little mistakes costed one team. And that was the Broncos. You had Sean Payton decide to not kick that field goal, go for it, Stidham fumbles. That leads to a May touchdown. So instead of going up 10-7 or 10-0, it's tied 7-7. And then just rare missed field goals. That's, if you're a Broncos fan, heartbreaking, absolutely devastating loss. It's one of those where you go, damn, this is a different game with Bo Nix. And I truly believe that. I think Vrabel's a fantastic coach, easily is probably in the leading spot to be coach of the year. I mean, taking a team that had 4 wins to the Super Bowl the following year is outstanding. And he has that experience as a player in a Super Bowl. The Patriots, that's their upper edge on Seattle, in my opinion, is that experience Vrabel brings. So Patriots scare me on a lot of different fronts. That defense is good. Diggs is very good. The use of his legs against Seattle, a team that only brings up four defenders on that line and doesn't blitz a whole lot. They're going to be tested against his legs. So Patriots win the AFC, return to the Super Bowl for the first time since 2019. And then you have Seattle Rams, a game that was making me lose sleep. I was stress eating. I was stress not eating during the game. I was sitting there a nervous wreck. But Seattle gets it done. Sam Darnold with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. The run game was strong. I was not expecting the offense to come out as explosive as they did. What the Rams did show everyone, though, the Seahawks defense isn't unstoppable. I fell into that trap of the last few games. Seattle has only allowed 1 touchdown in the last 3 games against the 49ers, just absolutely mopped the field with San Francisco. You expect that defense to play great, and they had a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes where you have Witherspoon slipping and falling twice, Rick Woolen with a play that almost costed Seattle a trip to the Super Bowl. where he's talking smack to the sideline and gifts San Francisco their next touchdown. The defense had a lot of weird, uncharacteristic errors. The offense, though, stepped up, and especially Sam Darnold. What a story. Dude goes to the Jets, gets drafted, is made fun of right away because he's seeing ghosts. We all did it. We all wrote off Sam Darnold right away. And he's saying he sees ghosts. The Jets cut him. They don't believe in him. He then goes to Carolina. Doesn't do anything. Then goes to San Francisco. Doesn't do anything. Rarely sees the field. Then he goes to the Vikings. Has a really strong season. Then the Rams embarrass him in the divisional round. And everyone goes back to, Sam Darnold, cool story. Dude just can't. He can't win the important games. When Seattle picked up Sam Darnold, I'm not going to lie, I thought it was a linear move. I'm sitting there going, Darnold and Geno are the same quarterback. What are we doing? I get it, Darnold's a little younger. If Seattle doesn't upgrade their offensive line, which they did, but if they don't upgrade the offensive line, I don't see anyone surviving and playing well. I had Seattle as like a 9-7 team going into the year. Boy, was I wrong. Hand up accountability on this one. And Sam Darnold against the Rams had 2 touchdowns, 6 interceptions before Sunday night's game. And it was that was the biggest factor, is can Darnold protect the ball and make great decisions? And he was running it well. He was seeing the field well. I mean, the mistakes we had seen in previous games of him holding on to the ball too long weren't as glaring. He did it a couple of times, but also credit to San Francisco, to LA. A couple of those defensive plays, they just busted through that offensive line and got to Darnold. But overall, 3 touchdowns, no picks. That is why Seattle won. It was because Darnold made the throws towards the end and didn't turn it over. And that's just an incredible story. And now we get an incredible rematch of one of the best Super Bowls ever. One of the most devastating for me, but as a football fan, that's one of the most infamous football games ever. And now we get a rematch. And you get it between Drake May, a young star, and you get it with Sam Darnold, who is just a comeback story for the ages. And it's incredible. So can't wait. I was telling Megan, I want the Super Bowl to be this weekend. This week, I guess I get a little bit of a breather, a second to, maybe try to get some sleep. I'm going to be a wreck in 2 weeks. I'm going to tell you that. It was hard. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I love watching Drake basketball. I was locked in. I promise you I was taking notes. And I interviewed Pullman after the game and everything. A little bit in the back of my head, I was sitting there being like, I still have to sweat out a Rams Seahawks NFC Championship game after this? Are they trying to give me a heart attack? So we'll have a great rematch. Patriots, Seahawks in the Super Bowl in San Francisco. Going to be exciting. Going to be a lot of fun. And if you're not a fan of either team, please join the Seahawks. We'll need the support. So we'll take all the support we can get. But a fun weekend in sports and a fun way to kick off this brand new week of the Media Row podcast. Wednesday show, a lot to get to. We have Drake men's basketball, of course, to preview as Evansville comes to town. And then we'll preview, of course, the Drake women on the road against Bradley. And then Friday, of course, recapping both of those games and previewing the weekend ahead, and probably touch on a couple of big national college basketball news as well. Now, since we don't have NFL playoffs to talk about for the week, we'll probably dive into some of these fun national stories, like Nebraska and Michigan tip off tomorrow, which will be a really fun game. I think I got a couple of buddies coming over for that one. None of us are Michigan or Nebraska fans, but that's a game that's a must watch. 20-0 versus 18-1. Sign me up any day. And then over the weekend, you have BYU, Kansas. That deserves a Hell yeah. That's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait. So we will see you guys on Wednesday for a brand new edition of the Media Row podcast. Go follow us and subscribe to us, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday.